Mike's alive.
Yeah,
You're telling me that Jeffrey Dahmer was at the Skinny Puppy 2 Dark Park Milwaukee show for Halloween 92.
Yeah.
And he was
1990.
1990. No, 2 Dark Park was released in 92 though, so it would have been rabies.
1990.
So
it was the Halloween 1990 show. I wasn't 21 yet, so like I couldn't go to the bar. And he was in the bar the whole time.
So so Jeffrey Dahmer, was he a Milwaukee goth?
No. Well, he was more of a weird guy.
All right.
Because like, I when I met him, it was at the Oriental Theater. We were there for the midnight showing of Frankenhooker, opening weekend. And I like, the movie's not that good, okay?
But Jeffrey Dahmer made it better.
You're not going to feel guilty. Yeah, no, I don't know about that. You're not going to feel guilty if you go out to the lobby to have a smoke. So I'm out to the lobby to have a smoke. Because, what am I going to do? The movie's,
Wait, stop. Was it at the rave? Was that Skinny Puppy gig at the rave?
No, the movie.
No, fuck the movie. The rave.
Yes.
So the gig was at the rave.
Yeah.
Because the word is he was moving. And hello, everybody. This is Art of Rock. At the moment, it's Art of Serial Killing. The word is that he was moving between the rave and the Ambassador via the underground system that linked them because of the laundries and the garbage disposal.
Could have been.
Wow.
Because I'm sure that there is one, because like the underground complex there is complex and old. When he lived like walking distance from there.
Wow. Okay. Holy crap. Well, welcome. Hi, this is Art of Rock. Thank you, Ivan. That was fantastic. We're talking about starting a new line of perfumes and colognes named after serial killers, and then we started talking about Jeffrey Dahmer, as you do. As usual, my internet is being crap. I want to thank the Tongva people first and foremost, and I acknowledge that I am on Tongva land here in Los Angeles. This is the Art of Rock every Saturday mornings, or depending on where you were. We're streaming on Twitch, also on Twitter and YouTube and everywhere else, because yay. So join us, and we're going to talk about music and everything. This is brought to you by ANGELSPIT'S Patreon. Hey, if you've got $3 and you want to fucking throw it my way each month, I'd love that. Remember, when you go to a bar and you tip your bartender, it's normally $3 as well. And I'd like to think that I give you more lifelong things than a bartender, not taking anything away from bartenders. So jump on ANGELSPIT'S Patreon. It could be $3, man. Seriously. Pre-order ANGELSPIT'S new album, The Bastard Gods. It's very brutal. It's on right now. Dude, look at that. $3 ANGELSPIT dollars. Digitals go out for this on Monday. So thank you so much. And if you're a Patreon member, you get a free copy because you're fucking awesome and I love you. Seriously, I love you. And I wish more of you would get out of bed so we could have crazy conversations. Industrial Incisions Playlist is a web show you need to know about. And it's bloody great. And also, if you support it on Kickstarter, everybody, it all goes out Monday. Industrial Incisions, there it is. Go like it. And there's a bunch of bands, new bands you'll like and old bands you'll love too. Speaking of new bands, this is MTV TV. We're going to raid to there afterwards. It's fucking awesome. We got to keep it alive. If you've got a stream or something, raid to MTV TV after the stream. Because there are bands on there you need to know about. And if you're in a band, there's an audience on there you need to know about. Welcome to the Art of Rock. Okay. Aaron, you had a question about merch. Go.
I did. So I was wondering about the merits of online merch production via Redbubble, Sticker Mule, etc., versus your local guy, gal, or word of mouth type deal. Like, what tends to, I don't know, I guess work out better, or what works on a budget, or what experience people might have had with, quality and so on and so forth. Just experience overall.
Okay. Can I start shooting my mouth off? So
What?
I'm going to extend that to pins as well. For pins, I will always try and find local punk kids to do the job. You're going to be paying a cent or so more per pin, but you can go to the different pin places, get big bulk things made, and it's cheap and easy and la la la. But if you do it locally, you are supporting the local punk community or indie rock or whoever they are. You're helping those people. So I say with pins, do it. With stickers, I say also do it. There's also if you're in Wisconsin or close to there's Amerigraphics. There's a print shop up there. Miss Ballistic actually does a whole bunch of stuff through there. And they're bloody great, and they will print and cut, and even zines and everything. If you're going to do a large run, use them. But if you're doing only a limited number, you can always get sticker paper and do it at FedEx, Kinko's, Staples, whatever it's called these days. But it's probably cheaper going through, the cool thing about Sticker Mule is that they're set up for stuff and la la la, and they can send it out to you. And, I actually think Sticker Mule is not the most cost-effective option, just FYI. I think there are cheaper options. But I'm all about supporting the community. I'm going to shut up now. Does anybody else want to jump in there? Raz, go.
Yeah, there's something so artisanal about screen printing and stuff, and it's very DIY, and it comes very much from a tradition of community music with artists collaboration, and I would love to stick to it in the future. I've often done small operations, limited edition things that are hard to create, and one of the main things that happens is you don't get a template to submit to the artist. You don't get a preset selection of sizes, fonts, die cuts. You talk to them and you come up with ideas, and that's rewarding and definitely changes the topic from what's more affordable, though. You get into a different realm where okay, now cost isn't an object and I'm not going to recoup this, but it's worth doing. I don't know. It's area, but I think the main underscore for me is working with an artist that you already like and not doing any selecting from presets, but establishing a dialogue with somebody is super good, rewarding, can resolve.
Totally.
And way more difficult and unpredictable too. But
yeah, there's also that. If I may, sometimes you are working with people who are starting out, so there's the work in progress and mistake thing that you're dealing with as well. But I'm all about it, and I just wish they were easier to find, but that's not really their fault because the whole world is screaming at us right now, and Resi wants to add something there.
I mean, that's a really interesting point. I mean, Fiverr is bristling with everything you can possibly think of.
What's Fiverr?
You go there and you type cyberpunk logo for album art, and you'll get 4,000 inexpensive, only have sample projects up, no actual work done in their portfolio, offers to do it for $5, $10, $30 in 5 hours a day, 2 days. So it's really easy to get something not terribly original and without a lot of passion put into it on most of those fronts. It tends to be template based. It tends to be samey, and not only the individual's work tends to be of a style, but there'll be pools and coalesced groups of people all doing very similar styles. But if that's what you're looking for, it's a quick way to get into it.
Mick Smith, welcome. It's good to see you. And Diana, welcome. And Chris, welcome. And this is great. And Ivan wants to say something. Go, Ivan.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the artwork. We'll start with the artwork itself. And this probably applies, more generally. But I mean, if you've got a local art school, find somebody that wants to do work that they can put in their portfolio, and you can pay them to do the work, and they can put it in their portfolio. And I heavily emphasize, and you pay them, because you don't ask for people to do things for free because of exposure.
Good man.
But because you don't do that. But like, you know, I can't overemphasize you don't do that, because we're the good guys, not the bad guys. Bad guys, you know, they have names like Disney. We don't have those names. We have names like real names, like actual people, and you know.
Yeah, Ivan, we get it. Go on.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, there's like if you got a decent halfway decent art school, you're gonna find you'll be able to find somebody that you can work with. And you know, the advantage of working directly with the artist as directly as possible is, you know, now you're, you know, letting them do their thing with your input, and it becomes a collaboration more than just an ordering of things. And you know, some of them, like, they get pretty damn crafty, so you know, you need a super limited run of screen prints done, find a way to work out a deal. You know, it works for everybody then. And you know, like, this again just goes straight back down to support the local punk community, because welcome to art school.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
These are good thoughts. We've sort of segued over to design. I wanted to ask you, Aaron, are you happy with that answer, or do you want us to keep drilling that before we segue officially to design?
No, I think it's pretty good, and I would echo that. I mean, literally, like y'all have been saying, like, I think if you're outside of it, or if you've just never experienced it, you know, yeah, there's thousands of artistic people that are champing at the bit that want that in the portfolio, where they'd be like, you know, I'm not really into X, Y, but you know, this band wanted me to do a logo, so it really challenged me to incorporate a bunch of stuff. And yeah, again, it's a win together scenario where they could push the envelope, and even if that's not their forte, quote unquote, they could still crank out a badass project for an independent artist, you know, that could be beneficial, you know, on all fronts. So yeah, definitely the art community is pretty solid.
I love it. I'm going to put my hand up. Rezi, did you want to say something? Because you beat me to the hand up.
That was just on the last one. I said what I was thinking for that.
Fantastic. Hi, Tachi, welcome. So this is, just FYI, this is Art of Rock. We do this every Saturday morning, and we talk about anything to do with music, production, in this stage, promotion, and design. And it goes all over the place. But just hang around, because this could be really interesting. And if you've got a question, just throw it in the chats, because I'm looking at everyone right now. Okay, welcome back. Getting an artist to help you is a great idea. I'm all about it. Some artists, most artists, are like herding cats. That's the one issue that I have with artists. If you can find an artist who is going to be amazing and help you and grow together, make them join your band. There are also AI generators that are also very helpful for basically doing stuff. I'm all about getting humans, and I'm all about using humans, and I'm all about paying humans. You know, AI generators are a great... I don't want to go down that AI generator thing. I just don't want to fucking talk about it. Humans are fun. Humans are squishy. Humans are moist. Thank you very much. Ivan, we're about to deep dive into design, but the floor is yours now, and I'm going after you because I want to shoot my mouth off.
There is a good reason to get, like, essentially find an artist and get them, make them an unofficial part of the band or an official part of the band. You know, make them your artist, because you know, you want your kind of like design language across an album and your stuff, and or multiple albums, or you know, an entirety of a career. You want that, like, to, if you want it to all work together, and like you get a look that is recognizable as, you know, your look. You're going to more easily have that if you don't have a whole lot of cats to herd, because it is like herding cat or cats, and herding cat is a lot easier than herding cats. And,
yes, it is.
As soon as you start bringing in lots of artists, you're going to end up with having to deal with them all having really different ideas of what your band looks like, and that's not necessarily, to your advantage, especially when it comes to branding.
Okay, so true. Aaron, I'm going to go in after you. Thank you, man. Thank you. Aaron, go.
I was thinking also, if you luck out and you got your own artist deal, I mean, you could do a lot of local things. I mean, I wouldn't even rule out like arts and crafts fairs, or if you're playing a show, but anything in between, you could have your artist there just to help. I mean, it's a camaraderie aspect. It helps the time go by, but it's also somebody that could help you with your merch table. There could be somebody that has a tablet propped up that goes through a slideshow of all of your stuff to pimp, i.e. websites, photo shoots, all the badass stuff that kind of slides across that. And it just kind of works out, hand in hand to where, they're hanging in with you to help bring the energy, and the whole experience tighter knit together, but then they could also help you on the merch aspect.
That's excellent. Very, very true. So, Rob, good to see you. Chris, good to see you. And Nimbex, good to see you too. So, design. I personally think having a design that stays with you your entire career is a great idea. I think having a color scheme that stays with you for your whole career is a great idea. There's not really I think you've got to decide on your color as well. This is a Pantone book. Woo! Printers have these, and they're great. And this is ANGELSPIT'S Pantone, which you can't really see right now. That's Pantone 186. Dead on, man. 186. That's ANGELSPIT Red. So if I say to anyone, ANGELSPIT'S Red is 186C, and when I print something out and it's not, and I hold that next to it and it is not fucking exact, then there's a problem. It's not like fire, like this is actually Pantone 186. This room is actually Pantone 186. There you go. It's also called Chicago Red. But the problem with Chicago Reds and red names like that is that they're not always the same. Like Fire Engine Red is not always Fire Engine Red. Fire Engine Red, incidentally, is Pantone 185. It's great, but it ain't 186. It's really important to stick to your color, to find the Pantone, the exact color, and stick to it, because there is an emotional release when colors get combined inside your brain, and that's super important. If you don't use white, or if you use one gray notch off white, you know what that Pantone is. It's really fucking important. Plus, it brands and identifies the band. You've got to think of it like you are a restaurant, and that restaurant is branded, and the colors are branded. And this is actually fun. So I encourage you to throw yourself into this shit and figure it out. Also, typography and font is super important too. If you change font, then make sure it's within the same, if it's within the same family. It's okay to go from album to album, and each album has a different font. I like to use a different font on each album. I like to buy that font on each album. But then when you see ANGELSPIT, it is always, or usually, Universe Condensed minus 50 kerning. Just because that's ANGELSPIT. Although the new album, that's different. Actually, the last few albums, that's different, but not really, but kind of. It's still in the font family. Aaron, bless me with your knowledge.
I was going to throw in with that. I was just thinking about the simple aspect. If you were driving down the interstate, what does your gas station look like? What is that bright, gleaming, blaring fucking sign that has your moniker, your color scheme, your logo? Or if you walked into said gas station, what's the quickest way, to the ice chest, the drink cabinet, whatever you call it, what makes your thing stand out? people that are sitting in a restaurant, if there's pictures rather than just the names of the sodas, I would probably venture to say that they would clock that faster than they would ever read it. You know, they'd be like, oh, blue, they got Pepsi here, cool, game on. Or they got hot red, you know, and you see their fancy ass little half cursive writing, bang, people gravitate toward their Coca-Cola, you know. It's just that thing to where, like Carl was saying, like, stay consistent and stay on brand. It's like I love Grim. I love Grim blacks and greens, you know, with little to no deviation. If there's something that's on my business card or my main jam, it's black and green, and it is like hot fucking glow stick green.
Cool. And that really nicely brings us to the question of what is the logo? Like, is it based on the initials of your band, or is it a cool little weird symbol? Or, and this is actually something fun where if you don't have someone to jam with, you can jam with an AI generator, and you can say monochrome logo something something something, and just throw ideas at it and see what comes back. And obviously, you know, you fuck around with it or you get someone to help you, but it's good fun. Does anybody want to throw in about this very interesting thing? That's a big no.
I have counters in mind a lot with this.
You have counter what? You
counter examples.
Okay, great.
Also, my internet is really, really slow, and I apologize for my dropouts. Service call is in. I don't know, the things that come to between Skinny Puppy, The Cure, Cocteau Twins, Susie and the Banshees, they've got all of these, like, reinventing the logos and colors every single album. David Bowie, and then I think of a couple of iconic ones like Neubauten and Bauhaus that have either a borrowed or, you know, iconic but original striking logo device rather than a word mark. And I don't know which one's stronger. Like I've gone through phases with this, but I'm trying to think of a way of pulling together what the unifying feature is about some of those bands that don't keep a logo and typeface. And one of them is working with their graphic artists for the album art influences how the word changes and how the typographical innovations happen on those things. And I think a lot of that is not just picking a typeface, but working with somebody who can do lettering and choose historical letter forms and do interesting things with them. Past just picking a font and sticking with it. So I don't know. There's something more to think about there, though. A preference or successful angle.
Okay. For every release, ANGELSPIT has a different logo for the album. So each album has a logo. ANGELSPIT itself has, actually the logo that was for Nurse Grenade is kind of ANGELSPIT's logo. It's the weird thing. And each album has its own logo. I did that because I want to tattoo them to myself at some point. And I just want a little inch by inch tattoos that would look fucking awesome and strong, and you know, often I use a different designer, often I don't. There is a typographic movement, as I mentioned, but at the core of it, my logo stays the same. You can follow that or not, it's up to you. I think the first question is, did you make a start? That's question number one. Do you have a logo? If not, get a fucking logo. Then you might go, well, this album, you know, it doesn't really feel like it, because like a logo is kind of like this tattoo on the band. I think anyway. For me it is. Luckily I like the logo. You know, you're not obligated to keep that your whole life. You can change it if you want. So yeah. But step one is get arty and cut shit up, and maybe even get literally scissors, cut things up, cut up words, stick them together, see what happens. It comes down to this constant thing where we do not allow ourselves time to fuck around and explore anymore. Maybe it's just me, gee, I don't know, but yet I seem to have time to death scroll through dumb, mindless shit for hours every night, and watch dumb fucking movies, stupid fucking movies, and dumb, really stupid television, or fucking whatever you call it these days, dumb fucking content that's wasting my life and wasting my fucking energy. And then we go and talk with our friends about this puerile dumb shit and get outraged about this stupid meaningless dog shit. Then yet I don't have time to sit down with all of the gadgets on, with a pair of scissors, and cut up words and shit to try and fuck around and make cool shit happen. Or make music after a certain time, or before a time, or whatever, because I'm too exhausted, or what the fuck. So, maybe before you get a logo, we need to get our fucking priorities straight. My God, they feel like we're just shit to throw content at. But I'll let you decide on what you think is right for you. And you can figure that out. Aaron, I see your hand go.
Well, I just think that harkens back to previous discussions of set your space and have your shit together. So, that one day a week or every couple days, you could just go and just master your craft. I love doing waxwork shit. I'm always melting stuff down, making Scully candles, and and casting a bunch of badass designs. Concordantly, that works with Grim. That ramps up for future projects. That gets ready for conventions, so on and so forth. And I'm actually very fortunate that we have a Creepy Con convention that's coming up in 1 month's time. So all the people that are in to all that shit, it's like Christmas in August for creepy people, and you can go meet all the people that are in your similar stream or venue, and then it's out there too for music. I've probably said it 1,000 times. I mean, if a city's got an event and you can set up a table for free, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
But to get back to what Carl was saying, it's like you start forcing yourself to where you're just like, I'm not even turning the fucking TV on. Like as soon as you get home, you just turn on some music and go, all right, yeah, it's arts and crafts time. It's time to draw. It's time to, melt some shit down, or, or in my case, but, or there are times where I just fuck around and I walk right into this studio and I'm like, I'm going to mask up and just throw some shit down. They might have been notes that I had throughout the day or stuff that I just want to riff and improv about, but I'll put on my hack get up, and I'm like, let's fucking go. Let's see what hack has to say today. And even if nothing comes out of it, I'm riffing, I'm cracking myself up, I'm laughing in the camera, I'm scrolling back through what I did, and I was like, that's a little bit fucking unhinged, but I guess it's time to edit and put it to some music and then just go hit people with these mental splinters. But, yeah, you got to fuck around. More fucking around.
Absolutely.
Less finding out.
Just really quickly, Ivan, I see your hand. I'm really trying to do this thing at 6 o'clock, web goes off. And it's working really well for me. Because I am addicted to the internet. That rant I just gave, that wasn't me. It wasn't fucking at you. That wasn't me. I can't stop looking at the internet. I can't stop death scrolling. It's become a fucking problem for me. And I stopped. 6 o'clock, we're done. We are fucking done. And yesterday I sat on the couch and I listened to a record while lounging on a couch. And I didn't do anything. I just sat there, and it was the best fucking, like, my brain was going, oh my God, thank you, oh my God. Like, I could just feel it working. I could feel, like, thoughts and things in my brain. It was great. I'll shut up now. Ivan!
Okay, I'm going to start by quoting a great man. there are two kinds of people in the world. There are smokers and non-smokers. Figure out which one you are and be that. Robin Williams. So, I'm going to change that quote now. There are two kinds of people in the world. There are creators and there are consumers. Figure out which one you are and be that. If you're a creator, you will have no choice. You will be that. You will find a way to be that. As most creators, you're going to be a bit neurodivergent, which is going to lean towards ADHD, which means, find ways to make those two things work together towards your advantage instead of against it. Just listen to an album, just sit on the couch, just lay down on the couch, listen to that album front to back. That can turn into, solid inspiration. I got no doubt in my mind on that one. Like Kevin Key and Edward Casewell just dropped a new video this morning, and listened to it once and started writing drum track. Start a new song. Because I could just hear the new thing immediately, and now it must happen. And I've reached a point now where going to be setting up with mastering guy in Australia. Thank you for introducing me. I'm just going to bulk buy mastering, so I only have to do the ETF transfer once for a bunch of songs instead of having to keep doing it over and over again. Because it's just enough of a pain in the ass that, doing it once for a whole bunch of songs will be easier than having to do it one-offs. And the reason I need to do that is because there's a lot of stuff that's going to be getting mastered in the near future. So, it makes economic sense for both of us. When it's time to create, I could try to death scroll when it's time to do that, but the death scrolling will fail. It won't last. It doesn't, but most I can do is take a quick break for that, because I get so freaking hyper focused on, get through this or make this happen that, I end up not really having a choice. And that's me when I'm not taking my meds. I mean, if I start taking the Cotempla, it turns into a laser. I, just burn through stuff. Find the thing that works best for you, and make everything about you work towards your advantage instead of against it, because it can be done. It does take some trial and error and some horrific experiments upon occasion, but you will find it. It can be done. Go read about the Kabbalah and its application to living a better life, and just keep that stuff in mind and move forward. It'll be good. And every once in a while, do rage at your machine and have a rant about it, because that's actually healthy. All right.
Good job, man. Thank you. Aaron.
I would definitely encourage, keep your notepad close by. If you shut the web out and you're going to listen to things, there's two plugs that I would mention, but I promise they have a more salient point. There is a project called Skinned, SKYND, and their audio soundscape is fucking wild, because they have ways of embedding sound effects into it, and when you were listening with your attention diverted or eyes closed, you can only hear the things that add more terror to the track as you listen to it or as you investigate it, basically. So, for instance, they did a track about Catherine Knight. If you know nothing about Catherine Knight, holy fuck. But there's this really unsettling noise that you start to learn is actually like a pot that is rumbling on a stove with steam batting the lid up and down. But if you know anything about that tale and you hear that song that they do, holy fucking shit. And basically what I'm getting at is, if you find ways to listen to things and not death scroll and not have to be transfixed on a screen, because there's a lot of times there's not even a video going on. You're just listening to your favorite music and you're staring at their logo or you're looking at lyrics or silly shit, but just close your eyes, shut everything out, and listen to what's going. And when you have your notepad close by, you might be like, that's what I want to add to that. In Ivan's case, drum track, you know, or anyone's case, it could be, you know, this would be really fucking badass with, you know, distortion or a guitar pedal or, shreds on the screen, on the strings, so on and so forth. So yeah, there's a lot to be gleaned from just listening to music and writing shit down.
I love it. Yeah, all about it. Does anybody else want to jump in here? So that's how you design a logo for your band. Does anybody want to hold on? So Rezi, did you want to go?
If we are still on that topic, I put my hand down because I wasn't sure. Just in case there's anything to wring out of it still. I don't have any current touches for designers who are doing the cool stuff. And historically, like my neophyte and ripping off people inspirations were always like Von Oliver for putting squids on the scanner, and David Carson for the ray gun distressing and ruining your type and making a mockery of it, and Stephen R. Gilmore for those sort of layered, ghostly kind of things with the really strong typography in interesting shapes. And I would imagine they're ripping off Storm Thorgerson and Christofferson from the Hypnosis day. But that's like 30 years ago kind of era stuff. And if anybody has like a suggestion for who's kind of carrying that mantle right now, I know that they're active, but maybe people who are doing different, but just as iconic as some of those people. I would love to hear about it and learn about it and get a little immersed in what's going on today.
So that's a no. Yeah, sorry. I just find something you like. Find something that you think is cool. Because what you think is cool, your market will think is cool. Because your market is basically you. It's plus or minus a little bit you. It's people your age, your mindset, your thought, your political process, your all that stuff. You. You know, give or take 20 years. But if, you know, and if your music suggests blah, then make blah happen. You know, that's the thing. You know, there's that question I like to ask people, is that you throw your music at someone else and you say, what does the person singing this look like? And, you know, they're going to say, oh, the person looks like this. And then if you ask them the same question, oh, what does their band logo look like? I don't know. I don't know. I hope that helps. Aaron, go.
These
I didn't mean to blow you off there, man. I'm sorry. I sincerely, I didn't mean to blow you off. Like, it's just you. What do you think is cool? That's what I think. Aaron, save me.
No, you're absolutely right, because it's like if you don't have a prime driver and something you're obsessed with, you know, then like who else is really going to care about that project? You know what I mean? Like, it's like if your prime focus is like, oh, this is going to fucking rock and this is going to be so badass and I've got this entire theme and you've got all of these things that you got to shell out there. It's like, yeah, if you just kind of have a half-ass approach to it and you go, the font is Arial and the background is white and this is my new album, people are going to be like, okay. But if you have images that actually draw out an emotional response, and that's cool shit. my short notes in tandem with that would be get somebody who is skilled, or someone to help you have everything in a vector. So that way it doesn't matter if it's the size of your pinky nail or blown up to the size of a billboard. It's going to look amazing and not like digital noise and shit. Also, Cricut machines are incredibly badass and can lend themselves to your artistic flavors. There's a lot of fucking options in there. There's a lot of cool stuff in the design
I don't know what's a Cricut machine.
So a Cricut machine, hell, sometimes you could even find them in a thrift store because somebody just didn't have the patience to learn a new thing and they just said fuck it and dumped it off there. Cricut machine is it's a machine that'll hook up to your computer. It'll load up a design space, and then you could load it in to have a cut setting that will cut vinyl, cardboard, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it will cut to precision like the vinyl sticker machines of old. And so you don't need to have a 5-foot drum or a machine that takes up a whole ass wall, but you have a pretty decent cut and or print space. But yeah, Cricut is a very, very precise cutter. Or you could put a marker in it and it could draw all of the things. And as much as I love being a pen and Sharpie artist, fuck me dead if I have to like fully ink 5 logos. Like it's very taxing. So if I want to lay down a badass logo, and then tell the machine to do it, or replicate or fill in some ink, it can do that for me. So minor bit of a learning curve, but it's a gentle curve. But I would definitely recommend that if you're trying to hash out some album artwork, because you could set the machine to cut a shitload of stuff for you, and then you could throw it out on the desktop, and you can just literally scramble it with your own 2 hands and be like, what does that look like together? With intersecting letters and shapes and badassery.
That's great. Another thing, get a Pinterest or something and just start pinning images that you like to it. And I was thinking also, like, what's hip right now? Anything retro. Anything retro, I guess. So, yeah.
No, you're not wrong. I wouldn't have anticipated record players coming back in the past 3 to 5 years.
I'm talking about like actually from a design stance.
Oh, designs. Okay, yeah.
Like I see colors and I go, okay, that was really 80s inspired, or that was fucking 70s inspired, or whatever. Or go to a design shop or a library, and just flick through a book. I'm sure there's shit online, but fuck online. Unless you want to look online, you look online then. I just can't, because I end up looking at fucking cat videos and alien bullshit. And it drives me crazy, because fuck the internet and fuck my brain for being addicted to it.
Get architecture books.
That's a great idea. Bauhaus, baby. Always the Bauhaus. Earl Lizitsky. Go ahead.
In tandem with that, too, I mean, you've got so many used bookstores, and you got Ollie's and this, that, and the other, and who's to say that you can't get a book for $4, but it's a book you fucking destroy. You know what I mean? Like, you might go through the book, and instead of being like, oh, I got to keep it pristine and I got to keep it neat, take some scissors and just fuck it up. Be like, I like that picture, and I like that too. Throw it literally tactile, throw it on a damn desk, add your logo, and then go, hey, I might have something there.
The library around the corner. Sorry, I'm sorry, Aaron, I cut you off.
No, I was just about to say, instead of poring over a computer screen going, this fucking design isn't working, like, literally throw it out on the tabletop and just fuck shit up, and then just be like, oh, okay, yeah, that might yield some results.
Thank you. There's a library around the corner from me, and they, every now and then, they throw out books. They had this incredible book on the movie Alien, and I think it went in the bin, and I didn't get it. Anyway, there was a book in there one time. I just went in there, and it was design, and it was British public servant buildings from 1960 to 1990, and it's these great black and white photos of public servant buildings, and they're fucking great. So I just got them, I cut them up, and I used them in art. Like, I literally, on all the Bastard God stuff, I actually cut it out, pasted it on there. On the other stuff, I like scanned it in and fucked it up. bloody awesome fun. Really awesome fun. Yeah, fuck around. Ivan, that looks great. I don't know what it is. Does anybody else want to throw in something about this thing? You got to forgive my frustration, by the way. I'm not frustrated at you guys. I'm just frustrated at myself and how I get to this point where I become exhausted, and it's 6 p.m. And I'm pushing through. That's really difficult. Hold on, Resi, I see your hand go.
Yeah, I had this thought for a week, 2 weeks, but it came to me last night that doing design is sort of a competitive, collaborative learning process for me has always been much more motivational. Like I get buoyed and carried along on when I'm working with some people, you know, like exploring a new movement that we haven't explored and finding out who the artists were in that movement and what they did and how they innovated and what their contributions were, and stealing little bits of and knowledge from that. But it's like, I don't know if that's missing at all for you. It might be a very solitary, satisfying endeavor, but there is some kind of like, you know, 2 or 3 people being on the same art trend kick for half a year or a year. Oh, my video, that's great. That really takes over for any like obstacles you were having. Like if it's feeling like a grind and feeling difficult, and people you know that you know and trust and respect have ideas about where you're going with it too. It can be take it to another, you know, into a different realm.
Should I just jump in super fast, Ivan? I see your hand. Just give me a sec. Step 1, get a good pen, a nice pen, like a thin Sharpie, thin pen, or whatever you like, a pencil, whatever, and also an eraser, and a notepad. Stick it in a bag. Go for a walk. Take your camera. On your walk, see if there's any stenciling, graffiti, or whatever. Click, click, click. Awesome, yay. Then, make your way to a library. Go through a whole bunch of art books. Write down ideas, photocopy ideas. They have photocopiers at libraries. Utilize that shit. Next, go to a cafe. Sit in that cafe. Look at images. Paint images. Draw images. Give yourself several hours on a Saturday to do this. You are allowed to have fun. You're allowed to explore what it is to be creative. You're fucking allowed to do it. Go do it. Ivan, go. See, Ivan, we can't hear you now because you were fucking around with all your cool little toys and your audio went away.
How am I now?
You're great.
Okay, if you're getting a little burned out, you know, first thing to check, make sure you're getting good sleep. Good, high quality sleep. Like it's important. You know, especially if you're learning things. Like, even more important. And like, I can speak from experience. I've spent the last month getting nothing but shit sleep because, you know, for some reason, despite there being no extra insulin on board, we've been waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning with medical emergency levels of low blood sugar, which essentially just ruins the entire sleep cycle. Like it just erases it. It's like staying awake instead. Yeah, which completely wrecks the next day, and then rinse and repeat and do the same thing over again. It's awesome. So last night I had the first night in ages. Like, my blood sugar was perfect all night. I slept like you know, it was amazing. I woke up at 8 a.m. and I was ready to just, you know, rule the day. And that's the first time I was having it on a Saturday in ages. So yes, yeah, good sleep is really important. Also, Carl, you're one of us. We know it. Go get a diagnosis and check out the you know, options for, you know, getting some ADHD under control. And
me?
And then
I've already been checked. I don't have ADHD.
I am amazed because, you know,
I'm autistic as fuck. I don't have ADHD.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe lucky then.
Woo!
Yeah, find a way to not spend masking it, or just don't bother masking it. Like, people need to deal with that shit.
Yes.
And You will not be as exhausted at the end of the day.
Good
Because
advice. Thank
masking
you.
is mentally exhausting. It wipes you out in ways that somebody that hasn't been masking all day will never understand. And as soon as you give that up and stop doing it, like, holy crap, just frees you. It's so beautiful and wonderful. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Does anybody else want to jump in? Aaron, go.
The notepad. The fucking notepad. Gonna have like a literal like prison system when you scratch ticks on the walls, but it can't be overstated. Like the amount of notebooks that I've actively had in work or ripped pages out of and Frankenstein stapled them together to keep thoughts, to keep them interesting, to keep them in a binder, so on and so forth. Because also, if you so depend on technology, there will come a point that it will fuck you and it will fail you. That external hard drive isn't going to work. That cloud access is not going to work.
It'll turn into a giant robot and kill you, your friends, and your family.
Exactly. I, as much as humanly possible, the digital shit is the redundant copy of the thing or a photo of the thing, but the fucking thing has to be the notepad. It just has to be. Not to mention, like, I like the aspect of when I am on break from work and if I have 15 minutes, I flip open a notebook and I write. And when I write, those things become wicked stories, and they are fucking awesome. But the second I turn on my phone, I'm like, I wonder what the fuck somebody posted on Facebook because I got a little dingy ding. I got a little fucking red bubble that I have to check out. No, -10. Fuck the phone thing. Just carry your notepad, because if you're really trying to do it, there's just something pure and base and awesome about the fact that you could write whenever you want and just lay it all down. And to me, it is way more productive than I'm just going to jot a quick little note on my phone and derail everything that might have been in my mind's eye prior to booting up my phone.
Brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant. No, that's a good rant. Keeping the thoughts in order. Dude, your brain is actually full of cats. And you have to herd them. And you can't. And that's why life's so fucking shitty. Ivan.
I really cannot agree more with the idea of keeping the notebooks around, having a notebook, using the notebook. This is from 1995.
Wow. See, that's kind of serial killer. Because that even looks like the book out of Seven.
I mean, you know, it's a need composition book. I mean, like, everybody that ever went to university knows exactly what they are. But, like, you know, I've got the time that I got written up at my first post-university job. The papers for that, they're still in here because, you know, everything that was in here when I stopped using it just stayed in here. Oh, look.
Thank you, Ivan. That's amazing. And you know what? Flipping through that is probably kind of inspiring as well, because, like, you know, all the ideas in that moment is frozen, and perhaps part of your brain gets turned back on, because it's all about turning that brain, you know, turning on the exciting brain muscles. I'm figuring out how to say that without being sexual. I don't know how to make your exciting brain muscle throb. I don't know. Aaron, just leave that there and tell me about what was on your mind originally.
I was going to ponder the question of, has anybody ever finished a composition book? Cover to cover.
I have
board
not.
To board.
Resi has.
I don't think it's possible.
No, Resi has.
Does it have to
can't be
literally
done.
be one of the composition brand composition notebooks with the, or can it just be notebooks in general?
No, it just has to be like a notebook, like
Yeah.
cover to cover.
No, I
like,
really do. I fill them. Like, I onto the next one and keep them and put them in the closet and stuff. Yeah.
I think
Both sides of the
rad,
page
man.
and everything. Yeah.
I don't do both sides of the page.
I
mean, it
also
takes years,
fold
but,
pages
yeah.
over, and I flip the book too to keep shit interesting. I flip it upside down and I write on the other side, and that's how I could tell different ideas, different things, and yeah.
Yeah, that's the
That
thing. I mean, there's
also
no
very
rules.
serial killer-ish.
Okay.
Now that I think about it.
No, this is an interesting off topic, but because when I was in Australia, I've got a bloody music book with actual staves in it, lines in it, which I've always wanted, and of course I haven't filled it in. The notepads I always do on one side only, because I always end up going onto the other side, but then I got this kind of like crappy sketchbook thing, like Spyrex piece of crap, and I hate them. I don't know why, I just fucking hate them. What I'm doing is I put in an idea and then leave like 4 pages, put in another idea, so that when it fills, because I always end up using multiple pages. Blah. Rosie, save us from this craziness. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, it is so...
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, you know, I even think make it look as fucking serial killer as possible. Watch 7 again and go, yeah.
And my dream journals, those will get, cover to cover filled, and then next one cover to cover filled, and just keep going. Stacks of them.
Hey, your dream journals can turn into your album artwork, pending on what, inspiration or whatever else, I mean, if it's even remotely cathartic, like some people are like that. They're like, I want to make sense of this. I want this to be an image and, to be a body of work so they can kind of see it, whatever, a stage removed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're mostly there for the FBI to have stuff to work with when the time comes.
That's amazing. I love this.
When the time comes, when you're at the rave adjacent to the Skinny Puppy show.
Oh.
But the lower levels of the rave are, there is a fucking poltergeist there. There is, like, have you ever been to the pool area? Like, there's this underground pool, and it's this beautiful, ridiculous pool, like beautiful, like it was for the ultra rich. And it is just full of fucking ghosts and demons, and it's just fucked up. And you walk in
There's
there.
a building downtown that's got an even creepier, even fancier one.
Wow. Wow, gotta love them ghosts. I actually have a friend who recently, she is going to Scotland ghost hunting. And she's got a Soma ethereal ether, whatever it's called, one of those things that records. She's got like a mic and that shit, but also the ether that records radio and higher bandwidth shit. Yeah, she's gonna go ghost hunting, which I think is great fun. And then we're gonna look at what she got and see if we can fuck it up, which I'm quite looking forward to, actually. Yay. So, does anybody else have to, is there another topic we want to hit at? Because, like, we had a couple this morning and it looks like we hit those marks. Kind of.
I've got one more if everyone is game.
Okay.
And I would say it has to do with investing in your craft. And, like, we all amass a shitload of gear, but I'm wondering if it's worthwhile to invest in your craft. And because we talked about zines and prints and stickers and all that jazz, but I'm wondering if it's more advantageous to farm that out or to get a quality printer that can print, on sticker paper, on canvas, etc., etc.
Well, obviously, if you're selling it and passing it on, you want it to be high quality. So you're working with people, designers, etc., who are giving you something that's high quality and not half-assed. That's very, very important. Did that answer your question? Or maybe I should relinquish the floor now because I think Resi wants to speak. Go, Resi.
There's things that you will never have, like a 5-stage Heidelberg offset press, like for doing mass runs of, J cards or LP covers. That you should have like a couple of screens and a bathtub to wash them in and, know how to screen print. If only, and I don't mean the you in Aaron, because Aaron, I'm sure you do, but the you collectively need to know of the technology of the process that you're having somebody work in, because it's fun, because it's cool, because it's more knowledge, because you only live once and it's time to acquire and push ahead the state of those arts and crafts if you can. But you got to pick and choose, obviously. Looking at that knowledge domain and knowing where the cliff is, that means you can't hope to invest enough time or money or space into doing it. There's these obvious points of departure there, but knowing enough to get yourself in trouble and have dumb ideas probably is important for everything that you do, I'd say, just in general.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it might harken back to the idea of find the local art people, befriend the local art people, make it mutually beneficial to be with the local art people. And then I guess by extension you could rule out, if it's better to, be like, oh, hey, what kind of printer are you using? Or where do you go to print the things?
Yeah.
I think more and more cities are starting to spring up too, to where if you have an interest in woodworking, 3D printing, or what the fuck ever, that I think that they've actually got some creator spaces for that.
As far as screen printing and stuff goes, the other thing is that stuff's great, but your core thing is whatever your core thing is. In my case, it's music. It's not a lot of the other things that have distracted me, because I wanted to do something cool, and I'm not sure where that led. I have no idea of where all that shit went. I don't know. But you've got to there's a balance between, like, for example, screen printing. I don't screen print because I'm not good at it. My guy is good at it. My guy has got a whole studio set up. And I don't mind paying my guy to do that. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that is, when you get something from me, it's like, oh, Carl made this with his hands, or Carl designed this, or whatever, or Carl assembled this, at least. But there's other things that it's like, I just don't have the energy anymore to go, I'll do this shit. Can't do it. That's just me, though. That might not be you, though. It's just me. Go, Resi.
I think it underscores a pretty huge difference, even between you and I. I have like 3 albums to show for. You've got 13 or more, right? Something of those numbers. And I do get lost in these excursions and finding like distraction in knowing how the process works, knowing how gray is simulated with a halftone screen and what angles you need to use to make it render well when screen printing, so that the lighter grays don't fall off the screen when your emulsion dots are too small. I take some consolation in the pleasure that I had working with people who knew that stuff and taught it to me, when I think about how little. Well, I'm really sorry about the video overlays. I'm on a beta. Those kinds of like cherished learning and collaborative moments where I was taught stuff make up for sort of the lack of productivity in some ways, which it's an interesting balance. And I still have regrets about how much time it takes to do those things, but there is something important in there for me.
Can I reply to that? It's I agree with you. I totally agree with you that it's with some of this stuff, like when I went down my screen printing rabbit hole or whatever, or my zine rabbit hole, which I think I'm still in. I learned shit, and like you said, you're hanging around with other artists who are really good at this shit, and they're teaching you, and that's inspiring. And every single fucking thing on earth, especially when it has to do with process or creativity, you can draw a direct parallel to your music. And you can go, well, like you said, if the detail is too small and it doesn't go through the screen, it's the same thing with detail in music. And that's what I'm finding with, the painting thing and all this other shit. So it's like, yeah, man, I really agree with you. And it's the balance. And, also it's because, because you fucked around with screen printing, for example, that this shit is doable. And you know what shit's not doable. So when you go to talk to a screen printing dude to do 10, 50, 100, whatever t-shirts, you can at least speak apart the basic intermediate language. So that's my brain exploding all over the screen. Aaron, thank you, Rizzy. I really appreciated that. And I also fucking... hold on, really quick. Anyone else, if you get a chance, go to a makerspace and fucking throw yourself into this shit. Learn about screen printing. Learn about making zines. Just throw yourself into it. Like I said, there's a balance. You get to choose what that balance is. I'm going to shut up now. Aaron, go.
Yeah, I was about to say, just to meet both sides, I think, a lot of it is advantageous to, what gear you're shifting into, so to speak, to use an analogy. So it'd be what is good for you, both in inspiration and what's good for your well-being and branching out and collaborating and having all that fun, or coming up with new ideas to where you can draw it back to a center point. But there is an argument also to be made that, you need to stay on task, on brand, and lean into the main thing that is your main gig, i.e. your music, because it'd be the equivalent of opening a bakery, but then you also doing chainsaw art with bricks of ice. You know what I mean? Those two very well may never coincide well. The bakery could be the thing that you fucking crush. The bakery could be the thing that if you pour all this effort into and branding and sales and you do it all right, plus advertising, plus, whatever, that could be the thing that sends it. And you don't know if the ice sculpting thing's going to pan out, but this is just things you like to do for shits and grins, But it's good to, to do both, to where you do things that are good and beneficial and inspirational and fun and collaborative for you, but then it also is good to put on your Ichabod Crane spectacles and drop a couple lenses down and go, okay, I need to focus back up and focus on what my main anchor point is, my music, my album, etc.
Totally agree, man. And it's the same thing as well, with electronics. Holy shit, I wish I could build synthesizers, and I wish I could do this. And I have fucking tried, and I have wasted so much time and money, and got some really good burns on my fucking fingers, and nearly electrocuted myself several times. I can't do that shit. I have accepted it. If there is someone gives me a circuit board and says, hey man, you can build it, any fool can build it, it's not this fool, I'm going to get it wrong. And I don't fucking care. Because it ain't what I do. So yeah, figure it out. Maybe get some more burns and shit. And it's okay. Rezi, you had your hand up briefly.
I did, but I was only going to make a joke about having aged out of a friend group that is in universities with ups and dark rooms and welding supplies and stuff, and it being way too old to have friends that are still doing that. But I think I also then got a little bit existential and decided, maybe that's why people like to have kids. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what maker spaces are for.
Yeah.
That was well said. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, good save, Ivan.
I don't think you aged out of it though, because if it's something that garners the general interest. A lot of that shit is just, I mean, it's in your head, but a lot of it's out. I think it's honestly off the table. You know, like if you meet people that are just like, fuck yeah, I love welding, or hell yeah, I love glass work, or this and that, you kind of reach that common point, you know, of the mutual interest usually tends to supersede the atmosphere of the room, you know?
Yeah. It's really interesting, this whole thing, because I'm like thinking about my life and thinking about so many other people's lives and thinking how the balance between jack of all trades, master of none is. Like, I'm thinking about that balance. And I'm thinking about, you know, just, you know, like, because, you know, the adventure of life's fucking awesome and da-da-da-da-da, and I want to do all this shit. But also there is the discipline of saying, I choose to make this my core thing of focus. And I was lucky that from a young age I wanted music to be my core of fucking focus. But yeah, so that's me umming my way into oblivion. Umming and ahhing my way into oblivion. That was my hit song from the 80s. You remember that song? It was huge. All the cool kids liked it. So if you didn't like it, you weren't cool. Bam! I just got you good. I could just put in a mama joke, yo mama, somehow in there. Does anybody want to bring anything up? Rezi is now looking relaxed, with his feet up, drinking a Coke. Would anybody like to say something really amazing to me right now, or to everybody in the world right now? Oh my god. Somebody, you know when you said crickets before, I thought you were making a joke, but you weren't. Hey,
all these years I thought it was circuit.
Crickets on tumbleweeds.
All right. I thought it was circuit as well. But I don't know anything about cool kid culture. I got a question, and it's dark. How do you turn the pain of life, and it's very serious, how do you turn it into art? Go, Rezi.
No joking, just write lyrics.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I know that's like a reductively simple answer, but I think it is a burden for people who end up needing to express things, that there is darkness to be expressed. And I think it's probably not universally, but commonly a cathartic act to commit it to expressing it for other people to yeah, I mean, I think your prompt is the be an artist, you know, like express and create. I think it takes guts too. Like people do it way better than I do, where they're, you know, talking more direct poetically about their demons and challenges and stuff. Like I'm always so impressed when people can evoke things that are identifiably personal and, you know, express their situation in a unique and relatable way,
and make it rhyme. That
you want to, and put it in meter and have it follow a melody. Yeah, like those are the additional challenges. But you know, there's a pitfall of being trite and you know, not adding anything to the conversation when you complain about your shit, but being able to turn that in a way that feels like commiseration, or feels like companionship, or feels like a person reaching out for work to you to describe something that you share in common. It's like one of the most human and interesting aspects of it. I think we all are doing that, I would imagine. But yeah, write your lyrics.
For sure, thank you.
Put it in there.
Aaron, how do you deal with it? Thank you, Rezi, that was great.
I think also too, yeah, in vain of that, like sometimes you get a laugh out of it too, you know? Like it's just a laugh to yourself, but you're sitting there writing it and you go, you know what? Yeah, that's spot fucking on, you know? And yeah, there's the idea of, people would probably relate to this, or I could polish it, or I could put it into, a rhythm or, set amount of syllables. But, I mean, I do think it's healthy. I think you get to a point where you go, you know what? Like a recent video that I was shooting, there's some underpinnings of things that piss me off. There are things that legitimately piss me the fuck off in life. But Aaron being on camera is not as fun. Hack being on camera is very fun, but Hack is actually speaking truths and makes the analogy of the fact that sometimes the people that hurt you or fuck you up are similar to trash blowing along the street. It might look really pretty. It's a broken glass bottle. Should you be picking it up? Probably not. But all that to say, in the writing process, at first I was very, very pissed off, and I was a cantankerous fucking asshole. A cunt, one might say. I don't know who would, but the point was, I also had a laugh about it. Like, I was like, I'm vented. I did what I wanted to do. I masked up. I projected it through Hack. I had a fucking rip of a good time. And then I just said, okay, that goes over here now. You know? It's on a lyric sheet or it's on a piece of paper, but it's fucking over there. And it wasn't sitting there for days and days and days with me being like, fucking hate this shit, you know, and living it over and over again. And I was just like, I'm just going to project this through the speaker box that is Hack the Reaper and, send it out into the universe. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
There was a point there somewhere. It might have been the point on the razor sharp glass bottle that you don't pick up from
I like
the
the razor sharp glass bottle. I like that a lot. Thank you. Thank you. I have a theory. So there's an old saying, which is it takes 100 miles to heal a broken heart. It takes, or walk 100 miles to heal a broken heart. Something like that. Basically means walk 100 miles. And it will go a long way towards healing your heart. And if you do that 3 miles a day, you could knock that fucker off in a month. I think it's very important to do that and to take your little writing pad with you when you go. I have a theory that I believe it is the cerebral cortex of your brain is the problem-solving area. And you know how you lose the keys and then you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go, I put them in the fridge. Because your brain, this part of your brain doesn't sleep. It's always going solving problems. And it communicates to you in languages that you understand, which may be verbally or visually or whatever. But when you start making more music and music becomes an accepted language in your being, it will start communicating these problem-solving solutions musically, lyrically, through gags, through jokes, etc. There's a lot of languages that your brain works in, not just, language. So always be ready to catch them, because I've found that when I go through a period of darkness, afterwards, towards the end of it, there's this moment of resolution, and that's when the ideas start coming. And you better be ready, because they will come thick and fucking fast. So have your dictaphone on your phone ready, have your little notepad and everything else ready. I will always say walk and diet, although I've been fasting quite a lot in a healthy, regulated manner recently. And man, fasting is clearing my mind. It is clearing my mind. I was telling you guys, the fog is gone. And so many things in my brain are just problems I was having that I thought, I'm old, I will be like this for the rest of my life. My skin's cleared up. So much shit because I fasted. But anyway, and it's like 12 hours, 24, maybe 48 hours, but I do it healthy, and I make sure that I'm, that my physical activity is matching what I'm allowed to, if I'm going to fast for 48 hours, I'm not doing intense fucking physical work. I'm sitting behind a monitor, blah blah blah. So that's what I reckon, and it sort of ties back quite nicely to what we were saying about recording your ideas in a notepad for being a serial killer.
And then future marketing cologne.
Yes. But what would my serial killer name be? I don't know. So another really interesting. If anybody else wants to jump in on this, please interrupt me. I am noticing that I'm losing my sense of humor, and that's nothing to do with fasting. I'm becoming. Something's going on with me that I'm trying to figure out. Another reason that I'm actually fasting from the internet after 6 o'clock. I'm trying to stay the fuck off the internet because the increasing conservative points of view, etc., that are being voiced on the internet, the people getting outraged over fucking movies, I don't have time, is really affecting what I think I am allowed to laugh at. Allowed to. Isn't it interesting that increasingly I am encountering the word allowed to? A really nice thing to always remember is control equals their fear plus your pain. Not your fear, their fear projected onto you plus pain equals control. Be aware of that, because it's everywhere right now. So yeah, and I'm trying to laugh at things that are really I should not be laughing at, because it's really helping my brain. Because that's what I used to do. Rezzy, go.
I think stay off the internet or get off the internet or take an internet fast means very different things to different people. Could you tell me a little bit about what you exactly mean and how you practice stay off the internet?
Okay, what I'm trying to do is at 6 o'clock I stop. Phone goes away, computers go off. It's like, maybe I want to watch fucking Disney. I canceled my Disney because I don't care about The Mandalorian anymore. I don't care. I watched Toy Story 4 and I went, I'm done. Because Toy Story 4 is the best thing that's ever happened. I got my last fix and we're done. I don't watch streaming content because it is predominantly bullshit. And if you disagree, I don't fucking care. So I don't watch or listen to any content online. My problem is social media and death scrolling, doing this. So I am really trying very hard to stay off that. There are people I talk to, which keeps me sane, and I don't think that's a problem because social interaction is really important. Unfortunately, some of those people are on aforementioned social media. I'm trying to get everybody onto text, so so another thing I'm trying to do is when I make music, my music computer is not on the internet, which is good, which is really good. That's why I get so much shit done. But the problem is my phone is right there. So I am trying to get in the habit of putting my phone over there so that, here's a hard bit, picks up the phone and scrolls. That's what I do. But when I'm not doing that, shit gets so much better. I hope to be getting to a stage soon where I just literally actually turn off the computer. Like I've mentioned it before, I have a friend who turns off his Wi-Fi Friday night and he turns it back on at 6 a.m. on Monday morning. And that motherfucker does so much shit. Blah, 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 blah. So, that's what I mean by it. And that could be different for you. Like, yeah. Some people fasting is 500 calories. Some people fasting is 0 calories. It's up to them and to their personal metabolism. What do you think fasting is? If you were going to fast from the internet, Razzie?
I probably just Reddit. That's the only social media aggregated people I don't know saying things with motivations other than just purely altruistic ones. But I think that one-on-one sharing and communications via the internet I wouldn't fast from. I think that I've tried over the past 5 years to do more. I'm going to put this on Instagram. I'm going to send it to my friend. That kind of redirecting. I don't think I'd want to disconnect. And if that means a 7-hour video chat with somebody internet involved, but it's not the kind of aggregated, promoted, commercially interested, Chinese controlled, I guess, social forum with under the guise of discourse, it's friendships and relationships, I guess. So that there's a line there to be drawn, I think, for me.
Another really interesting thing is, did I just cut you off?
Nope.
Thank you. Another really interesting thing is that I am noticing that the internet is fucking my eyes up. I'm glad you're looking at Carl Sagan's Cosmos. Carl Sagan is the greatest human being who has ever lived. The internet, it's fucking my eyes up because I'm noticing that my phone was once here, now it's getting closer and closer. And I'm trying to also minimize interactivity specifically with that because of my eyes are getting tired and dried and all of this other shit. Like, there's a whole bunch of health things that are going on for me as well that I am aware of. So, yeah. Does anybody else want to jump in and say something fantastic?
Yeah. So, on the eye thing, go outside once in a while and change your focal length, because it actually exercises the muscles that make your eyes focus. And that's a good thing for you. I've been bad at it, and I'm paying the price. The internet fasting thing, back in the 90s, I was working at an ISP, big ISP, like building the internet. And for the longest time back then, I used to joke to my coworkers that when I finally went on vacation, I was going to a desert island without a phone. And that when I was on that vacation, I would be gone. Because, like, my Nextel, like, had that radio feature, so, like, I was essentially 100% 7x24 always made available. I already couldn't escape. And this was before smartphones. This was before, high bandwidth connections. This was back in the phone days. Like full on analog, how old school. It had a richer, deeper tone of internet though, so it was better that way. Then I finally went on vacation, and I went to a ghost town, mining town in northern Michigan, like out on the peninsula, that cell phones couldn't reach because it was down in a valley and the towers just couldn't see them, and there was no electricity even. There was no running water. Like, that was coming up from a well, and the bathroom was an outhouse. And gotta say, that was one of the best weeks I've ever had in my life, just because completely freaking disconnected. Like I had no idea what was going on with the rest of the world for that time. We, cooked food over a fire and, like, saw night happen and, told stories and drank a fair share of alcohol. Ate food, and it lived for 7 days. And it was great. I felt so much better when we got back. It was even better after I got my first shower when we got back.
And used a toilet.
Yeah. Really
Holding that for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You said, is that the one-to-one thing that beeps automatically and lets people ring through immediately? Yeah, I can see getting PTSD from that. That kind of availability is traumatic, especially with an ISP where it was probably about emergency situations that you had to attend to.
They're always happening, and it's supposed to have a 60 mile radius. When we went on vacation in New Orleans, it turns out that distance was way more than 60 miles. They could find me in New Orleans on Bourbon Street with a hurricane in one hand.
The signature beep tones.
Love it. Hi Vince, we see you, we love you. I hope everything's okay. Okay. Does anybody else want to bring up anything amazing, change the subject, or we could go check out some amazing fucking music on MTV TV? I don't know what that hand gesture meant. There's a lot of weird hand gestures going, oh wow, it's the 80s. I'm assuming we went...
I was going to make an obvious one, but I don't want to trigger my software to make a dumb overlay, so I'm not making it.
All right. Okay, well, hot damn. Thank you for joining us. Looks like we're gonna raid. Diana, if you're there, get ready to raid. Before I raid, I will say, join us again next weekend, next Saturday. Here, if you're watching on YouTube, we'll be on YouTube. Also on Twitch. After this, we're just gonna hang back here on the Zoom and have a chat. This is ANGELSPIT'S Patreon. Hey, look, you got $3. $3 a month. Join, and you get, every time I release something, you get it for free because you're fucking awesome. And the new album, get it now because it drops Monday. So if you followed it on the Kickstarter, on the Patreon, Etsy, wherever you've got it, that all goes out on Monday. And right now, we're gonna raid here. So if you're watching on YouTube, click MTV TV because we're going to MTV TV now because MTV TV is fucking awesome. Love you. Stay healthy no matter what shitty situation you're in right now. You can get out of it. Think hard, work hard, go for a walk, eat healthy. You're going to be fucking okay. And hang out here with your tribe because your tribe gives a fuck. And your tribe's actually on MTV TV right now. Love you. Bye. 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 Let's raid, Diana. Bye. 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 Woo.